Welcome friends to this series of learning Google Cloud Platform. In this lecture, we will create a three-tier web application by separating web server from the app server and securing app server by restricting its access from the outside world, like what we did for the database server in earlier lectures. If you have missed that video, please go through that. We are providing the link in the description. So are you excited to have this experienced? I'm sure you will be delighted to have this learning. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do it right now. This will help you to watch the new videos when it will be available. Also, please hit the notification button so that you can get notified too. Friends, in an earlier lecture, we built a Python application using Flask, which is serving from port 5000 of the app server located in US Central GA subnet. Anyone in the world can reach the web server through port number 5000, but no one can access the DB server through any port. Thus, we kept our database private, secure from the outside world. But note, the app server is still open and we are not secured here. In this lecture, we will introduce a new web server in the Delhi region, which is again completely a different subnetwork. We will install Nginx and we will open port number 80 for this web server to the outside world to expose our web application. At the same time, however, we will disallow earlier allowed SSH port from our app server located in US Central GA server. And we restrict Flask Python application port 5000 within our web application located in the Delhi region. Thus, we will block all the outside connection to the web server and we make it secure private one. So let's get started. Welcome back, friends. So this is our Google Cloud Web Console. Now, in the last lecture, we installed the Python app with Flask in this app server, and we opened the 5000 port to outside world. So anyone can go ahead and grab this external IP address and can go to this web browser. And if they hit to 5000 port, they can able to see the web application that we had built. So now in this particular lecture, we are going to secure these web application too, because the last couple of lectures we saw how we can secure the database server, because this particular message that is coming from directly this database, which is in a completely different subnet, and that is not accessible through internet, but only the users in app server can query the database through 3306 port. So our database server is completely secured. It's in private network, but the app server is not secured and it's still accessible to public. So what we are going to do, we are just keeping this app server behind the bar, and we are going to keep this app server secure in private area. And we are going to introduce one more server, which we call the web server. And that particular web server will be accessible from internet. And eventually our app server will be hide from the internet. So this is how we can develop a three-tier application. So that's what we are going to do. So first and foremost thing, let's change some code in this application. So let's check our compute resources. So gcloud compute instances list, and then we are going to connect to the app server. So gcloud compute SSH app server zone is US Central 1C. So once we connect to this app server from our Google Cloud Shell, we will go to our application location, and we have made a slight change in this application. So let us show you what I have changed. So we just introduce a new library socket, and from that socket we had grabbed the host IP address, and our host IP address is this one, 10.0.1.3. So 10.0.1.3 is the host IP, and in app.run we are actually providing this host IP, which is not hard coded here. Rather, we are grabbing this host IP from the operating system, and it is running from port number 5000, and we are keeping the debug as true. So the main part is that we are dynamically getting these host IP address, and we are assigning this application to run and bind that IP address to run the Flask application. So now what we are going to do, we are going to create one new server. Now this new server, we can name the new server as maybe web server, and we are going to install the Nginx in this web server, which will serve the traffic. So now we are interested to we are going to create the web server in Delhi region, because we had one subnet created in the Delhi region, and we will use that subnet because we believe that our web server is going to be accessed from Delhi region, though the application and the database are in US Central 1 region, Iowa region. So as our web users are in Delhi, we're going to create the web server in Delhi region. Now we can change these machine type as EP micro and spot instance, and we are fine with the Debian operating system. Now, what exactly we will do in the network section, we need to connect to this server from SSH port. So we are saying allow SSH, and along with that, we will create a new tag called allow HTTP. So we will create this tag after creation of this VM instance. We can create this tag, network tag, which will actually allow port number 80, so that anyone can access this server through internet with port number 80 as a HTTP port. Now here we are going to change our VPC to US Asia, and obviously the Delhi subnet GA to be chosen because that's the only subnet that is created in Delhi region. Now we are going to keep this primary IPv4 address as ephemeral, and external IPv4 address as ephemeral too. So we're done with this networking part, and we can create this VM instance. So once this VM instance will be created, I will come back. Till then, I'm going to pause my video. Okay, so our web server is created. Now go to this Cloud Shell, and let me clear the screen and exit from the app server. Now I'm again going to list our compute instances, and this time I'm going to connect to web server, and the zone is Asia South to A. That's the Delhi region. So now we are connected to our web server. So here, the first and foremost thing, we will install our Nginx, and this Nginx web server will be installed in the Nginx server. So it is done. So now what we will do, we will access the Nginx configuration, and we are going to create. So we are going to create my app file, and that's the configuration we're going to put for our my app server. So here, what we're going to say, our actual application server is in the 10.0.1.3 on port number 5000, which is basically the address of our app server. So 10.0.1.3, and it is being served from port number 5000. And we are going to bind this particular port to these web servers port number 80, so that if somebody keeps this web servers 80 port, then it will be serving from this location. So this is what we are going to do, and we save this file. Now, the next thing we will do, we will remove the symbolic link for the default configuration. So there is a default configuration which is in sites enabled default location. So we are going to remove that one, because we need to create a new symbolic links for our my app. We need to make sure that if there is any existing symbolic link for my app, I'm going to delete that one. But there is nothing, because we just created the server and we did not create anything. So now we are going to create the symbolic link for our my app configuration that we have created. So now, if we say we need to restart the Nginx, and once we have restarted our Nginx, so right now it is going to serve the port 80 our app server's content. So if we go ahead and grab this internal IP address, and if we ask to curl this one through HTTP port, it is now accessing the database. And if we go ahead and check this one, we are not able to reach the port. Now, can anyone guess why? Because we have tagged this allow HTTP port, but we haven't created the firewall rule at all. So what we will do, we'll go to this VPC networking, and on this VPC networking, we will go to our US Asia VPC, and there we're going to create the firewall rule. We will add the firewall rule, which will be allow HTTP, and the same thing will be the tag, and that is basically ingress allow, and it should be for anywhere in the world. So it's 0.0.0.0, and it should be port number 80. And let's create this one. So once we create this firewall rule, as the firewall tag is already attached to that VM instance, which is the web server, so once it is created, automatically it will start accepting the connections in port number 80 and then on. And if anyone just get wonder, this is a surprise for you. It's not Hello World, it's Wonder World, because we have updated the record in MySQL server as Wonder World. So if you see our database, so it's basically Wonder World. So it is just selecting the first record from the list. So the first record is Wonder World. So that's the reason it's coming as Wonder World. So now our next task is to separate these app server from the outside world. So right now this app server is being accessed from 5,000 port, and we are still having this port open. So the reason behind that, we had created this firewall rule that is allow Python port, that is basically accepting all the connections from anywhere in the world. So instead of allowing the connections from anywhere in the world, so what we will do, we will allow the connections from Delhi region only. So if we go ahead and check this firewall rule, and if we scroll down a little bit, we can see the IP range is anywhere from the world. So instead of anywhere in the world, what we do, we grab the IP address, and then if we mask it to 24-sided range, so it can accept the connections from 24 to 5,000 ports. So the 5,000 ports can be accessible from these Delhi region subnetwork. Nowhere else it can be connected. So if we save this one, so as it is saved, and this can be only accessible from Delhi region subnetwork. So if we refresh this one page that is accessible from outside of the world, it should not work. It's still trying to connect, but it will not able to connect anymore, because it cannot be accessible to the external world. You can see the site cannot be reached, but our web server is working absolutely fine. We just hide this app server from the internet, but we are allowing this web server to internet. So if we want to make it more secure, we can do that. So still now it is being accessible from outside world to SSH port. So maybe we can stop it for a moment, and we can try to edit once it is stopped. So the app server is stopped. If we go ahead and edit this app server, we can remove the tag like SSH, allow SSH, because allow SSH is allowing the port 22 from external world. Now this allow Python app port will accept the connections on 5,000, but from the Delhi region VM, so it is fine. And we can remove our external IP address from here. So we are not going to have the external IP address, and we have removed the allow SSH port. So once it is edited, I'll come back. Okay, so it is edited. Now let me start the app server once again. Now our app server is started back. So you can see that there is no external IP address associated with this app server anymore, and only the external IP address which is attached to these web servers. So none of these servers can be reachable to internet from any ports. So if we go ahead and check our cloud shell, and if we try to connect our app server, so it will not work, because we do not allow any SSH port from the outside world. So we are not able to connect to these app server through SSH connection. As well as we don't have any external IP address, we cannot use that external IP address to reach the 5000 port. So that doesn't make any sense. These external IPs no more associated with these app server, so it will not work. But our web server is absolutely working absolutely fine. So if we grab this one and close this and open a new tab and try to access the web page, it will work as well. So, this is how we have developed these three-tier web application where the web server is in front of the internet, but database and app servers are in different regions, and they're in different subnet, and they are private and secure. Thank you, friends, for watching this video. We from the Learning Light team congratulate you on completing this video. In this lecture, we created a three-tier web application by separating web server from app server and securing app server by restricting its access from the outside world. We hope you enjoyed the lecture. In the upcoming lectures, we will try to make our three-tier web application more resilient, highly available, robust one, so that stay tuned. Wish you all the best and good luck. Before leaving here, please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. We worked a lot to present you with such a beautiful thing. So please encourage us by putting your comments in the comment section. If you have any doubt, please leave your concerns and we will reply with our best efforts. Have a nice day and see you in the next lecture.